Good evening. We are back live. Hey, listen, we were on here on time at 5:30 or 17:30, but technical difficulties. We're back on here again. So, hey, again, welcome back to Army Reenlistment Live. Today, we're talking with Sergeant First Class Morgan Smith, the 2021 Career Counselor of the Year for the Reserve Component. What's that mean? That means that she is the best of the best career counselor in the Reserve Component. So, with that being said, welcome, Sergeant First Class Morgan Smith.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks everybody that's hopefully back watching this stream. We had a great first 10 minutes, but we'll rehash that. So thanks for having me. Everybody in the live stream, if you've got any comments or questions for the reserve component for transition, this live stream is going to be anything that you guys want it to be. So if you've got any specific questions that are going to be for you, feel free to message us. We'd love to answer your questions.
And throughout this live stream, please put down where you're located at, what base you're near. You know, I live near the center of the universe, Fort Bragg. Climb to Glory, Fort Drum 2. I'm a big fan of Fort Drum 2. But put in where you're located at. Add your MOS there too. We want to know who we're talking to, but this is Sergeant First Class Smith's first Army Reenlistment Live. So the questions, please be kind to her, right? She may be the best reserve component career counselor there is, but don't make her not want to come back here again, right? So have fun with this. So let's get into it. So Sergeant Smith, tell us about yourself, not where you're from, but your military stuff. Where you're at right now, what do you do, and what are those cool badges we saw in that photo today?
Yeah, so I've been in the National Guard for 16 years. I've had a lot of different opportunities that the Guard's given me. I'm at 1st Infantry Division as an RCCC right now, and that's where I became the RCCC of the year. I went through the competition last year. Like Tim said, this is my second show. The first one was a few months ago. I got those jitters out, so hopefully I'll be here, answer any questions that you guys have. Some experiences that I've had in the National Guard. I've been part-time, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer. I've also been on different active roles at different locations, both Title 32, which means that we're state funded, or Title 10, which means that it's federally funded. So I've got experiences in all those different rounds.
That's great. And listen, I was corrected. I'm fine with that. Tim said this is your second show, but it's the first show you're co-hosting, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go, Tim. Hey, so Izzy, we got your question. It's in here in the queue, but we're gonna go through some few things first because your question is pretty good. So I'm gonna hit you up. So, hey, so what is an RCCC, Morgan?
Yeah. So an RCCC is a reserve component career counselor. On your installation, you're going to have different reserve component career counselors that are both MOS 79 Victor, which is the Army Reserve Career Counselor. And then you've got also teams of 79 Tangos, which is what I am, National Guard Recruiting and Retention NCO. We all work together. We're compo neutral. Our job is to basically give you any type of professional guidance, coaching, mentoring when you're transitioning off active duty. So what we do is once you're 180 days out from your ETS date, we'll sit down with you one-on-one and help you come up with basically to see if the reserve component can filter in with any of your plans that you and your family have.
Now, I know 180 days isn't a lot of time to talk to somebody about options and incentives. So,
No.
So when can someone really come talk to you about, being a person?
Yeah. So once you start working with TAP, the Transition Assistance Program, you're going to be going through different briefings and figuring out what opportunities that you're going to have as you leave, as you come up with your plan, basically. So while you're going through those briefings, some of those are going to include the reserve component and different options that you have. Each person is going to have different requirements, and what those briefings are going to do, they're going to give you a general overview of what options might be available for you. But to actually know specifically what you qualify for and what kind of incentives or anything that could work for you, that's going to be at the 180-day mark.
Okay. But yeah, listen, transition is a scary time in people's lives, and when you commit to it, you'll commit to it, but you'll have a huge support network of the TAP program, RCCC, mentorship from for those who have transitioned before you. There's a whole list of people that will help you out. So getting into the rules, what are some basic AC to RCU rules, Morgan?
Yeah, so when you're going to transition, if you are eligible to stay on active duty, that's your first sign that you're eligible for the reserve component. Um, some other things to make sure that you're just good to go. So at the 180-day mark, your career counselor can just give you your options and you can make some decisions and just be ready to transition. Some housekeeping things. Make sure that your last APFT is a passing APFT. I know we're doing the ACFT right now, but those are not for record. So make sure that your last APFT was passing. If not, we need to get a passing one. Height, weight, make sure that your height and weight is current and good. You're passing height and weight, or body fat percentage. Some other things, make sure there's no flags, no bars. But in general, if you're considering the reserve component, come talk to a career counselor. We are able to do waivers. We're able to look at different options. So each specific person is going to have different opportunities available to them. You won't know until you actually sit down with your counselor to see how your specific situation is going to plan out.
Hey, that's some good basic rules. So realistically, if you're getting out, if you think about getting out, go see a reserve component career counselor. I want to bring up the question from Izzy Herrera. How do you know when it's time to retire and transition financially? He doesn't love it anymore. Maybe he doesn't, but have you ever transitioned, Morgan, yet?
I haven't. I have gone from active duty with National Guard positions and decided to then go part-time. And my husband also has transitioned from National Guard to active duty, regular Army, and we've done different transitions that way. Some of the recommendations that I have, it's specifically is to make sure that you're talking to your family. It's easy to think day to day, hey, what am I doing day to day? Do I love it? Do I not? But really come up with your goals and plans as a family and then come sit down with somebody to just see, hey, what your options are, because everybody's going to be different. What about you, Matt? Have you dealt with that?
So I transitioned twice, once from the Marine Corps to the Army to improve the Army. That was my excuse. And then once because, listen, one day I woke up and I had already 25 years in. And I woke up one day and I thought, I'm done. So Izzy, sometimes you just know because it's the right thing to do for your family. But again, family is what drives these decisions at most of the time. So don't ever think that you're in this by yourself, because you're not. So listen, and we'll get into the tips later on, but one of the tips I have is reduce or eliminate your debt. That frees you up from so many options, whatever you want to do. You don't need to work sometimes. You may want to work, especially when you retire. But reducing and eliminating your debt or unnecessary debt is definitely a key to transition. So with that being said, Morgan, let's get back into the questions that you prepared, because, listen, you're the expert in ACRC transition. So what are some general ACRC incentives?
Yeah, so if you want to stay qualified in your MOS, well, before we get really started in this, all incentives, all options are going to be based off of where you're relocating to or where you're living. So any option that we talk about or any incentive really is going to be, is it available in your location? So that's why it's so important for you to sit down with a counselor, because those things change so often, the availability, okay? One of the biggest incentives that we have right now is if you are staying MOS qualified and the National Guard or the reserves deem your MOS as needed, then they're going to be offering you up to a $20,000 bonus for as little as a 3-year commitment if you're MOS qualified.
Now you're speaking their language, Morgan.
But again, it's going to be based off of where are you going? Is that MOS needed in that location? So a lot of people come talk to me, hey, I know I've got a reserve center or a National Guard armory in my hometown, but the unit that's there isn't the same as their MOS. So there's a lot of factors that go into all of these, but there are up to $20,000 bonuses for 3 years, lump sum. One of the most underrated incentives is it's not really an incentive, but it's an option when you transition, is access to TAMP. TAMP is the Transitional Assistance Management Program. Basically, for signing a contract with the reserve component, they're going to give you and your family TRICARE Reserve, whichever option you want, for 6 months for free. So everybody wants to see the bonus money, but that's probably one of the biggest things that when you're transitioning that you need to have a plan about is that health insurance. I cannot stress that enough.
When you get out, I'm telling you, life insurance, you didn't think about it for years. Health insurance, didn't think about it for years. Those things will smack you in the face when you get out. So you need to have these things lined up for you, and that's some great stuff. Are there any rules for rank?
There are, based off of incentives, but we'll work with any rank. The incentives are going to be tied to rank, but unless you're retiring, you're probably going to be somewhat eligible. The most limiting factor is location, I'll be honest.
Okay. And Izzy had another question. It really ties into that. So why can't you go into the Reserve or National Guard after you retire from the military? Is that a thing?
Yeah, so
I don't mean to stump you here, right?
No. Once it's time to retire, you're going to want that retirement check. So if you're still serving, now you're not going to get your retirement check.
Izzy's trying to double dip here, okay? That's what he's trying to do. And we get that. Now, we appreciate that, Izzy. I mean, it's a good question that people don't know about. So when you retire, that check is what you get. You won't qualify for retirement if you're in the National Guard or Reserve. So, Izzy, get a job if you want to, if you retire, and enjoy the family life because you've been away for 20 plus years. Enjoy that stuff. Another question here from Daniel. Do RCCCs have insight into the AGR? That's a good question now. Little known secret.
Yeah, so we get that question a lot. So your RCCC, again, we're here to give any professional guidance and help you as you figure out what's best for you and your family. One of the biggest questions that I ask most people that come and ask me about AGR is, are you trying to get AGR because you financially need it? Do you need all of the active duty benefits? If so, I'm probably going to turn you around back to the active career counselor to ensure that your family's taken care of and you're getting those incentives. If you're looking at applying for AGR, there's a few different routes that you can go, and this is going to open a huge can of worms. But
this could be a whole show one day.
This probably will be a whole show, Matt. So, and I'll just be very brief, and then maybe we'll make a note to bring people. I've got the Reserves AGR program, the Army Reserve AGR program, that you can apply to while you're on active duty. Your RCCC will be able to talk you through that process once you're a year out from ETS approximately. Nothing's going to be guaranteed, but they can show you the steps for the Reserve AGR program. One thing to keep in mind with the Reserves is mostly combat support MOSs. So if you're combat arms, it might make things a little difficult if you're applying with your competitiveness. The National Guard, if you're applying with them, they can get you in touch with the specific state Title 32 state AGR program to see what kind of options they have. In general, most of the time, you're not going to be able to get hired until after you ETS. But we can show you all those options and get you in touch with the right people. So as soon as you ETS, you have a plan and you can hit the ground running.
So Izzy has another statement. He's saying that, asking that question because it's a way to not let go of the Army as you transition. But Izzy, I'm telling you, let go. The military will always go rolling along. It does. It has for generations now. It's time to let go. When you're ready, you can. Listen, you have so many options when you retire. Don't try to hold on to it. But if you want to hold on to it, there is the GS system you can get into. That way, your skills really translate to whatever it is you want to do. So don't get stuck in the mindset that you must keep doing this. So before we get to the military transition tips, I have to say, I know a lot of you missed Shantae and Tim tonight. That's my bad. We had a scheduling conflict, but as soon as this show's done, they are live with the NCOPD live tonight, folks. So Go over there and check them out. Don't leave the show now. The tips are coming up right now. So when the show is over, go see Shante and Tim on NCOPD Live because they're a great organization as well. So again, great feedback on the RCCC, the program, the AC to RC rules and incentives, but now the military transition tips. And these are my tips. So I transitioned recently. I now work in the transition space. I work with TAP. I work with DoD Skill Bridge. There's so many things I work with now. I help people transition successfully. That's what I do. So the first rule, the first tip, get on LinkedIn and network. Your network is, now the shirt says your network is your net worth. It really is. Your network is so much more valuable than a resume. Your resume really just shows that you're qualified or you meet certain labor categories in the civilian world. That's all it does. But your network can get you that resume seen by a hiring manager via the interview process. That's the key. Once you're in the interview process, it's now on you. So get on LinkedIn and you listen, follow. I'm on LinkedIn. Follow me. Matt Quick, here's again, right there. You see the name right here. I'm on LinkedIn, but get on there. That's a serious thing. Number two.
And Matt, do you mind if I cut in? So another thing with LinkedIn and any type of preparation before you leave or transition off active duty, once you've already made that decision and you're going through TAP and you're a year out, it's not that it's too late, but I'm 6 years out from retirement. I just started making sure that my LinkedIn network is starting to generate. You don't need to completely put your resume out there yet, but you should start building that network as soon as possible.
And the network is more than just your family, friends, coworkers. It's people in the industry you want to get into. For instance, if you want to get in the sports industry, there's so many mentors out there that will help you get it there. You have to get on LinkedIn and network. But great, that's a great thing. Number two, go to TAP twice and find mentors. I say that, go to TAP within 24 months from separation because there's so much information in TAP. It's an overload. It's a fire hose. You're a little sponge in an ocean. That's a good analogy. You're soaking up information, but there's so much you can't get. Go twice and find mentors. Those that have transitioned before you, they have a good knowledge of how it works. They have a good knowledge of really the process, and that's what you need. So have you gone to TAP yet, Morgan?
I did. Mine was back when it was SFL TAP still. But when you are on active duty for a certain amount of time as a National Guard soldier, they still have you go through some of the transition process. So that was my experience with it.
All right, Shante, listen, I get corrected twice tonight. I'm not on my game tonight because she threw me off. So they're going live at 7 p.m. So I can actually watch it now and critique her. So I'm going to go troll her at 7 p.m. tonight. Watch out, Shante. Hey, so the next tip we have is this one. This one is hard to swallow. Your veteran status does not guarantee you a job. It does not. And the other thing is your rank doesn't matter when you get out anymore. Those things are hard to take. I left the service as a sergeant major. No one cares in the outside. Only 1% of the population serves. 99% have no idea what that means. Sergeant major, corporal, private, colonel. They don't know. That's why when you leave the military, get in corporate America or the civilian world, you have to know that you have to assimilate yourself to that environment. It's like going overseas and learning a new language. It's the same thing going to the civilian world. So do you see that in the reserve status, in the reserve component at all, Morgan?
Absolutely. So some of the things to consider, and I sit down with a lot of people and try to explain as you're transitioning that while you're developing your civilian career, even if you're still serving in the reserve component, that's just another avenue for you to network through. So we're here to help you develop that civilian career. And then, hey, the reserve component has some things to help your family as well. But that networking is key. Nobody knows or understands even what your MOS is, the lingo, trying to break some of those trying to use all of the acronyms all of the time and trying to break that lingo. It's so easy to spot a veteran between each other, but we're a very limited population, so you got to remember that.
Yeah, you are special in the service, but when you leave, you're no longer special. That's hard for people to hear. So Andrew asked a great question. How should someone find a mentor? So listen, my mentor when I transitioned was my previous old guard CSM. So he was my mentor when I got out, and he said, listen, and I woke up one day, and I said, I got to get out. It's time. I had 2 months to get out. I was so done, not in a bad way. There was family problems, not problems, but family challenges that my family was dying. So I was getting out for that reason. I had to spend more time with family quickly. So I found a mentor. He said, do X, Y, and Z. I didn't think about it. I reacted. I just did things. So he helped me through that. So that's one way to find a mentor. Another way, if you want to get into sporting or marketing or whatever you want to get into, go to LinkedIn. There's a powerful search tool on LinkedIn. You can find just about anybody. There's 740 million users on LinkedIn. Get there. You can find people in the industry and then search for past companies that served in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force. Air Force is still a service. You can go there and you can find veterans in the industry. They are the best mentors for you. So check them out. Don't be afraid to reach out. It's not a weird thing. It seems weird, but it's not.
It does seem weird, but again, it's just asking. You just got to ask.
That's right. So the question brought up before, this is my number 4 tip, is really reduce or eliminate debt. When I graduated the Sergeant Major Academy, it was a few years ago, I made a point to myself. I knew I was going to retire sometime. I had a plan for 10 years. It turned out to be 4 or 5 years. But I went there. I started paying off my credit cards, cars, everything. I paid them off. And it freed me up to get a job that I wanted, not one that I needed. So believe me, paying down or off your debt is a great thing. Morgan?
Yeah, so there's a lot of resources to help you through this as well. Financial counselors. So don't be intimidated to use those resources while they're available to you. A lot of this insight that Matt has, that any advice that you're given from people, it's there to help you because they probably struggled through it. So use your resources and really tackle that debt. That's going to be completely freeing. And then there's a difference when you're making decisions on a career versus surviving and making sure that you can survive and actually thriving.
That's absolutely right. And Andrew says, I wish there was a class for certification on LinkedIn. There is. So this is the 5th tip. I don't care what you're doing when you get out, whether it's project management professional, PMP, whether you're an HR professional getting your SHRM or your SHR, whatever it is, get certified in something. Scrum Master, Agile, CompTIA. There's so many certifications out there. Whatever your career path requires, get certified. It's kind of like your new rank. When you walk in, if you're an HR professional and you walk in with a SPHR, a senior professional in HR, or a SHRM SCP, a senior professional HR, if you walk in with that, that says, listen, you have the education, you have the background, you have the experience. You can take over a director of HR role right there. You have to get certified in something. The good thing is, I run a program now called the Digital Networking Professional Program, DNPP. It really teaches you about LinkedIn, how to create an all-star, a professional profile, how to build the right network for you, how to engage that network with content. If you're an introvert, we talk about how to get out of that shell, out of your comfort zone, and really engage with content. And the 4th module, it's 4 modules. It's really the tools that LinkedIn has, the resources, the salary analysis, the interview prep tool, resume builder. The good thing is the military is paying for the course right now. So I will drop the link in the comments after this right here. Go there, check it out. But you get any certification you want. And listen, I wasted my last 10 years in the military. I was given $4,500 a year. I didn't take for 10 years. I wasted $45,000 my last 10 years in the military because I didn't get an education. I already had my education. I didn't get any certifications, nothing. Take that advantage. Get your PMP, get your SPHR, get certified, get something. How many certifications do you have, Morgan?
I just certified about a month ago in SHRM CP. And I'm also using my tuition assistance for my master's degree. So I also use tuition assistance to finish my bachelor's too. I changed my mind a few different times throughout my career about what I wanted to major in, but I was able to use TA the entire time. And then that's another plug for the reserve component. When you transition over, you're still going to have access to those resources, federal tuition assistance, credentialing assistance. And then if you join the Guard, they're going to have state-specific additional education incentives. So make sure you talk to your career counselor about specifically your location if there's any additional incentives for you.
Now, I dropped the comment, the link there, the Digital Networking Professional Program. It certifies you in networking. That's what it does. And this isn't the network like IT. This is the physical, the digital networking. I called the Fort Bragg TAP office the other day. I wanted to have a conversation. I reached out to her through LinkedIn, the program manager. She goes, I said, hey, can I come down for a visit? I live about an hour away. She goes, come on down next day. I came down today. We had a great conversation. And now she invited me to be a part of the TAP program to come down there whenever I want to and talk to people about transition. This is the power of networking. It started with a question. Hey, program manager, can I come down and talk to you? She said yes. I came down, and now it's going to really help so many more people out. So, listen, the shirt. Credit to my wife. She made this shirt for me. I couldn't find it anywhere, so she just made it for me. So I got the best thing, and I'm not going to sell it yet, Andrew, but it may be for sale soon. So I'm not selling it, but it may be for sale soon. So what are your final thoughts, Morgan, on this right here, on really the RC program or networking?
Yeah, so we had talked quite a bit about it's intimidating. It's intimidating to transition. You came into the regular Army for however many years, whether it was one term or you stayed till retirement. The civilian world, there's so many different opportunities for success, but the Army has a lot of programs to set you up for success. And the best way is to go into any meeting with, whether it's a mandatory meeting on your way out, go into that meeting with an open mind. You never know how that person can network with you or how that person can help you and your family succeed, because you eliminated your debt, you got your certifications, you're ready to go take on the civilian world. There's still more to be done. So just keep an open mind and keep sending us comments and questions. And we're hoping to keep these live streams going with what you guys want to see and learn about. So hopefully we can make this whatever you guys want it to be.
And if you like this tonight, if you like Morgan, not me so much, but Morgan and her information, please give some likes, give some comments. And she may be on again. We may do this twice a month. Her as a lead, though, because she's pretty good on camera, as you can see. And Shantae gets a little nervous when I get on here by myself. She goes, I need someone to wrangle him up. So that has been almost a half hour. So I know it flies by.
Oh, wow.
You got good information tonight. We talked about what a RCCC is, some basic AC to RC rules, and some military transition tips. So again, this will be on, we go live every 2 weeks. Every week we go live on Facebook and YouTube. So this will be on YouTube to watch later on. Give us a like, give us some comments to Morgan, because she needs them. Because if she wants to do this again, she'll need those comments. So until next time, everyone have a great, safe evening. And again, at 7 p.m., don't forget to get on Facebook Live to see the NCOPD. They're featuring the Army Realism team, Tim Donahue and Shantae Waterbury. Morgan, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.